humility and profound gratitude to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, the leadership of the NDC chaired by the Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia, and my honorable colleagues in Parliament. I wholeheartedly accept this appointment. I am thankful for the confidence reposed in me, fully aware that this is an onerous role. I intend the best of my ability. Our duty as legislators is to ensure that we do all we can for the betterment of the people of Ghana. As leaders of the House, as a leader of the House, I have an abiding duty to ensure that we always stand on the side of Ghanaians. That over 90% of the issues on this floor are resolved through consensus. There's a few that get into the media is what takes center stage. I pray that we'll build consensus during your tenure.
All right, it's the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. Time now for the newspaper review segment. Just gone by, you heard the voices of the new majority leader Mahama Yarga, as well as the minority leader Alexander Kwamina Apenyo marking over there. I mean, with regards to the majority leadership, there had been talk about who was going to take over for a while. And then finally, that is now confirmed. I've been joined in the studio by Obed King Gaglu as we go through the newspapers for this morning. Gaglu, good morning.
Good morning, Na. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's Friday. I'm happy.
You are excited it's Friday.
Yeah.
Do you even get to, what will you be doing? Aside work?
Unfortunately, I'm on duty tomorrow, so I'll be working tomorrow.
You'll be working tomorrow?
Yeah.
Even when you are not working, you are working. What is it?
Not entirely accurate.
It is
not
accurate.
Entirely
Every
accurate.
time I show up here, just to come and pick something or look for something, I find you here.
Probably those were the times I was probably in school, and so I'll stay behind and do some research here and there. But I'm done with.
Now they are done.
So you may not see me here as often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, boss. I'll be looking out more then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now the new leadership is taking over for the majority. Do you have any expectations?
I am excited to see Dapa Mokpo. You know, I see him as someone a litigant, and so it's going to be interesting in Parliament, especially during debates. I love him. I like litigation.
Okay. Don't worry, but you'll become a qualified litigant soon.
Yeah, so.
Okay, all right. I mean, for me, is Mahama Yariga I'm looking forward to because of, his extensive knowledge of the law, and looking at how his counterpart on the minority side likes to always throw in one way or the other. It will be interesting how these two will carry out their works in relation to this particular issue.
Right.
Very, very interesting.
But before that, what do you know about Freemason? There's this talk in town, Freemason, falling out from Operado's admission that is part of the Freemason. Now people are concluding all manner of things. I am keeping an open mind. I've heard about Freemason, but I don't know really what they do.
Okay.
So I'm confused.
I also do not know what they do. I know that as a group, I don't know what they do. I really have not taken out time to understand what it is, but I think it's one of those groupings. Just that, growing up, you hear lots and lots of stories of people saying that it's mysterious and all those things. I do not really know. So maybe I'd have to take some time and really read around what Freemasonry is all about. But those who are in it say that it's not as scary as people like to portray it. It's just like any other group that you would find, like a Rotary or a Lions whatsoever. But it is what it is. When I find more details, I'll be in a better position to speak more about it. All right. Did you hear the minority leader say that the current administration, the president, he should apologize for promising the 60 ministers?
Yes, I heard that.
So that
he can make more, because it appears he's struggling because.
What did you make of it?
From the background that the president indeed, he seemed to be, I don't want to use the word struggling, but there's some difficulty in terms of the appointment, because we heard him say that there are some ministries that there will be no deputies.
Yeah.
But if there's a need for it, I think you should appoint, because one person cannot be at the top. He needs some deputies. So if for me, you can appoint 5 more, Ghanaians will understand. But if don't you think Ghanaians will understand if you appoint 5 more? If you reduce it to 65, you promise 60 and you reduce it to 65.
You increase it to 65.
I don't think Ghanaians will be that
You're
apprehensive.
sure?
But I think that he will definitely stick by his words by appointing 60.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult task for the president.
Yeah, and I think that we shouldn't encourage it. That, we should we should make room for them to say, oh, we are sorry. I get it. It makes sense that maybe, especially maybe the economy, you make some promises about, rolling out certain policies, and then you come in and you realize that, look, the coffers is not looking good, and you may not necessarily be able to do that. I will understand when you say that because of X and Y. But before putting out the number 60, you should have probably done your work and realized that you could realign here and there. And yes, we know that most often when there is realignment, it's not as though the public sector workers, they are going to reduce the numbers. And sometimes some people say that it is defeatist. But even with that, there is some minor savings. They may not be major. Because if you have a minister, a full-fledged minister, you have to give the person accommodation, a 4-wheel drive, all those other things, police protection, all the many other, little things that could amount to something. I think Imani did a little computation where I think the figure will amount to, is it $1.8 million if we had to put it in dollars? I'll just have to cross check, but they put a certain figure to it. So I mean, that is minor savings. And so the other thing is that you have given the people your word. Just like the conversations we had about, the e-levy, where some are suggesting that, keep it. Remember that there are people who went out there to vote. Every time people send money, especially when it's a huge sum, and you see the amount that they are deducting in form of e-levy, it hurts you somehow. So you roll it out. If at the end of maybe 6 months time you realize that this is it, it's been a struggle, you lay it out to the people that yes, we tried it, however there are some challenges here, and they would want to amend the list and add 2 or 3 or 4, well, maybe 5, like you're saying. That will be understandable, but without rolling it out and then you coming out and saying that you are sorry, because you have. The thing is that, see, where Afenyo is coming from, it's not because of the numbers. The civil servants still going to be there, but they are reducing. He knows the political risk. Okay. Because there are people you need to sort of appease because of the level of investment. That's the reality of it.
True.
Level of investment people have made into the campaign.
True.
And so there are people you need to sort. Do you understand?
True.
And if the ministries are few, it means that you can sort only a few.
Yeah.
Unlike the former president, who did have as many as 120 or so. I mean, so if you don't get ministerial, you get some deputy somewhere. You understand all those things. Or maybe a godfather who funded may not necessarily put his face out there. He will get his boy or girl to be put there. So that is where Afenyo is coming from. That it's politically suicidal. That this could cost you. So perhaps come to Ghanaians. But then again, if he also falls for that bait and does that, it is the same minority that will say that you said you were going to run with 60. How are you going back on your words and saying that? So they should tread cautiously.
Especially when the MPP promised 50, right?
MPP, did they promise?
Yes, they did.
Yes. And it's interesting. I mean, now you even bringing that up even makes the conversation more fun. Just like how they talked about if they scrap the e-levy, where are they going to get the revenue from? When they themselves equally had promised scrapping the e-levy. So you had promised 50. In fact, your 50 means I was 10 short of the 60 promised. So was that also going to be politically suicidal? Well, it is what it is.
Interesting times.
It's politics for you. Anyway, let's go through what the papers are reporting this morning. We'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page, Agbogbloshi, reclaimed land under siege. We did that story earlier, right? Where the onion sellers are, returning. All the scrap dealers, onion sellers occupy 80-acre land. That is quite unfortunate. And I think that, look, it was difficult to get these people out of this place. And so we should try as much as possible and use that land for something beneficial. We should not look on for these people to occupy it and it becomes another Cantamanto. And then when the place burns down or is raised, you have to now be making donations and all that.
Right.
There was a 1 million cedis donation made to the victims yesterday, and they were also requesting for assistance in terms of a transformer and electrical poles, among others. Sometimes,
But when we did a story, I monitored a story done by Akoko Rismond, and per the story they say they are back because
there was a promise.
There was a promise to use the land for a purpose. After years, that has not been done.
It's not in their position to determine that.
But
it's not
if their livelihoods
have
been affected and the land is idle, not being used.
If it were the indigenous that were saying that you took our land originally for a purpose, and you're not using it, so per the law we have the first right of refusal. So, I mean, if that was a position, we would understand it. These are not indigents. These are people that occupied the land illegally, and we allow them to look on, we allow them to be there for so many years, making them sort of the owners. Do you understand? Because most of these things we look on, and then it becomes an albatross on all of us. But they have no right to say that you said, it's not your land. It's not your land. You are barely just using it for trade. But it's because we have watch them go on and on about it. They feel that entitlement is there.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate. But why did government not use the land for its purpose?
Well, sometimes it's politics. There was a time where there were rumors that they were going to use it for a hostel for headquarters. And, the indigents were saying that, no, but that's not fair to us. When our own people are literally being pushed into the sea because we have no lands available. Most of our lands, a good chunk of our lands, yes, our people are equally guilty by selling their lands, but a good chunk of their lands have equally been taken over by the states, vested in the states, and so it causes a back and forth. So if you are reclaiming the land, you should not be probably using it for that particular purpose. So maybe the assembly should move in now and put things in order before it gets out of control.
There's politics in there too.
Of course.
They said they voted for this government.
And that is but yeah, I mean, they would have to find a way to stop it in its tracks before it gets out of hand.
True.
Also here, Parliament approved 6 more ministerial nominees. Minister pledges reforms to tackle illegal fishing. Emilia Arthur's picture is here. She's a minister designated for fisheries and aquaculture. And then Mahama Yarega takes over as majority leader.
Now talk about Emilia Arthur. Man, she's been my top minister per the vetting.
Appointee so far. Nominee. Nominee.
Emilia knows her onions.
To think that the ministry was once occupied by Hawa Kumsin.
There's a vast difference. I'm sorry, we are not being diabolical, but that is the truth.
Oh, it's not diabolical, it's fact of the matter.
Wow.
It's fact of the matter.
Kudos to her. I pray that sometimes, so people think that sometimes your academic credential or your experience may not necessarily correspond to your performance at a certain ministry. We pray that is not the case, that she's able to excel at the ministry.
Yeah. I mean, like we were talking yesterday, there are talkers and then there are doers. There are people who are talkers and doers at the same time. There are people who are doers and then they cannot talk. So we hope that as fine as as articulate as she is, and seems to have a good understanding, a good grasp of the issues in the sector she's going to head, we hope that we'll see that also equally manifest significantly in the ministry as she goes there. Yeah. Back page, I beg your pardon. Daily Graphic newspaper. Government donates 1 million Ghana cedis to Kantamanto market fire victims, and PRC directs Ghana Water Company Limited to resolve Krobo area water crisis. Oh, Charlie, this Sunny Pune. All right. I'm done with the Daily Graphic newspaper.
Right. The Insights newspaper. Proposed privatization of ECG. Who says no? Yeah, so the Public Utility Workers Union is opposing the privatization of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
They didn't say they were going to privatize it. This conversation has been on and on. Lots of the times, the staff, they know that most likely when the system is effective,
yeah,
a good number of them will lose their jobs.
Yeah,
because most of them really literally do nothing. And that is a reality we do not like to confront most of the time. The public sector is bloated. There's work that can be done by one person that unnecessarily 5 people are doing it. Do you understand?
Sure.
And it's the government's job. There's security, so people are relaxed. Sometimes when there's competition, you would set up.
Yeah, sure.
So they know that when there's restructuring, we do not favor situations where people are unfairly laid off or dropped because of a takeover or something of that nature. But sometimes you need to whip some effectiveness into our institutions. If there's proper supervision, I'm sure that some of these things will not be there. But well, it is what it is.
Right. Also on the front page of the Inside newspaper, Ahmed Swale murder. DJ issues ultimatum to the police. Interesting. And Akufo-Addo and Western Sahara, the parting shots of a squilling. I'll have to find out what a squilling is. Well, it has President Akufo-Addo's picture here. And then CSOs worried over systemic insecurity and human rights violation in mining communities. I think that's all for the Insight newspaper.
All right. To the Daily Statesman newspaper front page, NDC thugs attack GRA, protest against new commission. Was there an attack, GRA, or there was a? Okay, I would have to check that out. Government donates 1 million Ghana cedis to Kantamanto fire victims, and NPP engages stakeholders on 2024 elections. Okoboy denies theft allegation and 24-hour economy to boost one district, one factory initiative. That is it for the Daily Statement. Let me go to the page two and get a proper understanding of the story that has been written. It says here that some thugs associated to the National Democratic Congress besieged the offices of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, yesterday, causing chaos and intimidating employees of the State Revenue Agency. The group threatened to shut down the operations of GRA as part of protests against the appointment of Anthony Kwesi Sapon as acting commissioner general. The rowdy group issued a statement before storming the premises, describing the presidential appointment as disappointing and demanding its immediate reversal. According to them, Mr. Sapon's affiliation with the opposition New Patriotic Party disqualifies him from serving under the NDC administration. The protesters alleged that Mr. Sapon's previous appointment to the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana in 2020 by then President Akufo-Addo was sufficient evidence of his political alignment. Well, this is rather unfortunate. There was no need for people to besiege an office because they disagree with a certain appointment. Sometimes people have to be patient. In some instances, everything may not be as it seems. The reason this is happening too is because of how polarized we have become, to the point where in most instances, when it comes to political appointments, it seems as though political affiliation or meritocracy falls flat in the face of political affiliation. Like, political affiliation is priority when it comes to our appointments in our side of town. So you may be very much competent. Once a government is appointing you, the strong belief is that they know you are one of them. And that's the only reason they'll give you. Because if they know that you are a member of their opponents, hardly would they give you that position.
True.
So it could be that this gentleman was appointed by President Akufo-Addo primarily based on, merit. However, because this is the practice we have done, this is something we have done over the years, people are associating it with him because they say that his appointment by President Akufo-Addo is sufficient basis to point out that he is a member of the New Patriotic Party. Well, or affiliated to the New Patriotic Party. But they can have their concerns, but beseeching the premises of the Ghana Revenue Authority is definitely not one we must condone.
Right, but I don't think that this practice is going to end.
Oh no,
we must find a solution to it.
Oh, no.
If it is lawful for the president to make appointments to certain institutions that you think that they should be technocrats, people who necessarily shouldn't be politically appointed, they should go through the ranks or have some expertise, then it will still continue. I don't see how a standards authority boss, an FDA boss, a GRA boss should be appointed by the president, because some of these institutions they require certain expertise, and if you don't have them, I don't see how you should be heading them. So if it is lawful for the president to make this appointment, it will continue. When the government change, these things will happen until something is really done in the law about it, that there are certain institutions that the president cannot have the power to appoint. Anyway,
it is what it is.
The new weekend crusading guide, Asenso Boache spies government on post-election violence. Again. Also on the headline, Czech envoy delegation call on Kede chief. And spiritual influences caused a loss. And this is by the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Frimpong Kodia. Interesting. And I heard him.
Is that spiritual?
Yes, I heard him on one of the
platforms like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not strange. They all say the same thing. I remember that there was an interview that now President John Dramani Mahama granted to Kofi TV as then, a former president. And he was talking about how 2016 everything seemed to be going against them. So he said it was both spiritual and physical, in terms of their opponents slapping the tag of incompetence and corruption on them and sticking. And then some of them, he says it could only be spiritual, because it's as if people's eyes had been shut to what they were doing. And he made reference to the Accra Digital Center, which he inaugurated. One of the key digital infrastructures we have in this country. And he says, and Kofi said he does not remember. Kofi said he did not remember that. He said, you see, that is one of the things. It's as though everybody's eyes had been shut to what we were doing. And so and so I'm not surprised Justin Kodia is saying what he's saying, that it was spiritual. I mean, I don't think it's spiritual. It's just when people are done with you, they are done with you. But especially at least in 2016, people were voicing their concerns. People were venting. So you would know that the government was unpopular. But in 2024, a few people were venting, but majority were not. They were quiet. And that is what gave government, the previous administration, the false hope that, listen, we've got this in the bag. A lot of people just were watching them quietly and just saying that I'm waiting patiently. I'm waiting. December 7th, I'll go and make my decision. That's what happened to them. And that's why they find it unbelievable and unfathomable that this is how things, ended.
Interesting. Okoboy denies theft allegation in viral video. We are told some group of people invaded a storage facility belonging to him and made away with some of his belongings, and they're accusing him of stealing those things. We are told they said they were also part of oral.
It's rather
but he's denying that.
I think I saw a statement. A statement he issued to that effect.
That cannot be the case. I like Okuboy though. I like him. The day I heard he lost, that was in 2012 2020, right?
2020, yeah.
I didn't believe.
Why
that
didn't you believe it?
I don't know. I just felt he was too good a politician to lose an election. But I'm told the dynamics in that constituency was different.
Yes.
And when I was given an explanation why he lost, and I said, okay, then it made sense.
You have to. You see, you can be a very fine politician or a fine leader if the people feel like they cannot identify with you, or what they believe is their priority is not what you believe is their priority. Maybe they feel that come to our funerals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Come, show up when there's a festival. Show up and stuff
The
like
festival
that.
bit.
That kind of thing. If they feel that is a priority to them, that matters to them, and you relegate that to the background and tell them, you know what, I think this area we need more schools. We need an astroturf. You will go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
If what is core to them is ignored, they will not see what you're doing. I mean, the best approach is to actually do it side by side. Find a good balance.
Yeah.
And most often, we do not have conversations with, our constituents.
A constituent, yeah.
We do not. We assume what they need. And it's not just the constituency, it's even the country as a whole. We mostly do not factor in what the people really need. We just, when I say we, I'm talking about, I'm standing in the position of the leaders. They assume that we know what is best. So we have a policy, we are implementing.
Top-down approach.
Sometimes they see something fine somewhere and they feel that, okay, we are coming to do the same thing here. Like, we're told that, we are going to have sky trains. Sincerely, we did not need sky trains at the time. At least if you make our roads motorable, right? Get the lights to be working on the streets, well lit, whatever time it is, when people are traveling, they will feel safe. It will be one of the things that would, make the people happy. Another example is, the decision to have constructed the whole airport.
Airports.
It was unnecessary. Imagine they had tarred the road that leads to the Volta region in a very pristine condition. You don't think the people appreciate that more?
True.
As compared to, this high, this fancy idea of having an airport in the Volta region. I mean, some of these places that are even short in distance, most often people would actually prefer to drive and enjoy the journey and, see, for some sightseeing among others. But a lot of the times when they go and then some things are pitched to them, they think that, this is brilliant. It will fascinate the people, but that's not what the people really need. It is what it is.
Right. Also on the front page of the New Weekend Crusading Guide, first day in office, Finance Minister visits key agencies. We are told he visited the GRA, he visited the Controller and Accountant General Department, and other key institutions. Let's see how it goes. So that's all on the front page of the New Weekend Crusading Guide newspaper.
All right. The Chronicle newspaper is the next paper I have here. Front page. Interesting. Teenager surprises prosecutors. My lord, I lied to my boyfriend that I was 19 years. Before I go on with the other stories, let me bring the details of where does this story? Where's the page? It doesn't say. Okay, it's here. Page 2. It says here that a dramatic event unfolded at the Dansoman Circuit Court on Tuesday, leaving the courtroom in turmoil after a 15-year-old girl contradicted the prosecution's case in a defilement trial involving Clifford Addo, a 24-year-old untrained teacher. Testifying before her Honor Halima El Alawa Abdul Basit, the teenager, who is in senior high school, Form 1, and pregnant, admitted she had lied to Clifford Addo about her age, claiming to be 19 years old to pursue an intimate relationship with him. She further revealed that Clifford Addo had taken responsibility for her pregnancy and had visited her mother with his family to discuss the situation. This unexpected admission stunned the prosecution. Lead prosecutor Chief Inspector Abuaje immediately objected, labeling the witness hostile and arguing that her testimony contradicts her earlier statements and misled the prosecution. The prosecution requested an adjournment to address the discrepancy. Defense counsel Isaac Ako Inkum strongly opposed the adjournment request and objection, asserting that the prosecution's claim of a hostile witness was baseless and intended to distract the courts. Now, they're talking about legal observations and reaction. The proceedings took another twist as lawyers unaffiliated with the case offered amicus briefs. So they say they are friends of the court and they will make their input, questioning the merits of the charges. They argued that the case lacked legal foundation and suggested that the state should not pursue a matter deemed a waste of resources. So let's get the background. Clifford Addo has been charged under Section 1011 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, for defilement of a female under 16 years, a charge he has pleaded not guilty to. According to court documents, the complainant, David Wedu, the teen's 24-year-old brother, reported Clifford Addo to the police after discovering his sister was pregnant. The girl initially identified Clifford Addo as responsible for the pregnancy, leading to the arrest. In his caution statement, Clifford Addo reportedly admitted to engaging in sexual activity with the girl but denied knowledge of her true age. On and on and on and on. So you can grab a copy of it. They've put an account of the question and answers that took place during the cross-examination. So you can get
interesting story.
a copy of it.
Interesting story.
Well.
So her real age is 14.
No, she says, according to the court, the prosecutor, she's 15.
15.
Yes. And they say that that's what she told them. And I'm sure the brother too perhaps will corroborate. And I'm sure at this point there's evidence to point that she is 15 because they would probably request for your birth certificate and all that. Now, when she took the stand, she told the court that
she
lied to the guy she was 19. Because, I mean, if you tell somebody you're 19,
then
the person's out now about saying that, give me your birth certificate. Unless the person also knows when you were born, knows you from childhood and knows when you were born. So, I don't know. I don't know how true it is. You know, sometimes, Charlie, there are ways of people choosing to settle the matter at home.
Yeah.
So, instead of perhaps saying that, let's take it out of court, it's probably say, oh, I lied. And so now, it will be as if it means that the prosecution has no case.
Yeah.
Because if it's 19, it's above the age of consent. Well, I hope she knows the repercussions of this action and does not live to regret it. But hey, it is what it is. Other stories here. After being acquitted and discharged for coup plot, the sad story of Colonel Kojo Gameli, denied compensation, forced to retire from the army. That's unfortunate. Ochehine orders removal of excavators along Brim River. Wow. Back page of the Chronicle. Arsenal head to the West Midlands to battle Wolves. Atletico Madrid to get the title challenge back on track as they host Villarreal. And Las Palmas to contest against Osasuna today. And league leaders Liverpool take on relegation battling Ipswich Town. Let me bring you the Bible quotation from the Chronicle newspaper today. It says, 2 Thessalonians 3 verse 2. And that we may be delivered from the wicked and evil men, for not all have faith. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I'm done with the Chronicle newspaper.
Right, the Herald. Fidelity Bank breaks silence on multi-million gold for dollar woes. Details.
Gold for dollar or gold for oil?
Dollar.
Okay.
Gold for dollar woes. Details agreement with Ghana's Minerals Fund amid allegations of financial mismanagement.
All right.
You have the pictures of Ken Ofoyata, ex-finance minister, Kesel Atuforcing. Cassiel.
Hey.
Interesting name. Everybody pronounce it.
But he pronounced it.
Yes, but
how it's pronounced.
Okay. Okay. Also, Chief of Staff demands list of Akufo-Addo's last-minute recruits into government payroll. But why do they do that?
Why did they do what?
Because I'm told the NDC also did the same when it was leaving power in 2016. You have lost the election. Just issue a directive to your appointees that don't do any recruitment. After 8th, 10th December, you know you've lost the elections.
The argument is that the government does not end.
True, but you know that it will raise suspicion.
Well.
Well.
So after the news of the demand from the presidency were made public. Now people also went to draw stories from the past about President Akufo-Addo firing 13 public sector workers in May. In May 2017. Yes, so I do you.
The cycle will continue.
I do you.
Right.
This is our politics, unfortunately.
Also on the front page
of the... If we want it to be stopped, we should state it clearly.
Yeah.
In the Transitions Act.
Yeah.
That when the elections are over and the clear winner is indicated.
Yeah.
There are some crucial decisions that should not be taken to tie the hands of the incoming administration.
Sure.
Yes. Government also argued that most of these employments, they had already, secured clearance for them already. It just
secured the clearance before 7th.
Yes, they got a clearance before going to the
and appoint them before 7th, because if it is before 7th, I don't think
it's a process. It's a process. It's a process. So sometimes it will not come immediately after the clearance. You know how the public sector, the bureaucratic process sometimes.
It doesn't even make political sense, because if you want to make people vote for you, you employ them before the elections, then they will vote for you. But if you do that after the elections, you've lost them already.
Some of them, Charlie, they realize that they didn't try for the people, so they need to fix them fast.
Interesting.
They have to fix them fast before they leave the
right.
Leave
so also on the front page of the Herald, Jubilee House and NDC supporters divided over suitable NTA boss, and so we are told Reverend Fianco.
Is he Reverend?
Yes.
Well, they say it looks like they've gone ahead with the nomination, so it is what it is. And as I've seen that, especially staff of Radio Gold, they have really taken this to heart.
Yeah.
They've taken it very personally, and they say there are people who say that they might as well keep Jean Mensah and Bosman Tare in office. I don't think the government has said that they intend to fire those two.
But there are petitions here and there for their removal presented to the presidency.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yes, I think that perhaps the administration would need to provide some form of explanation for this particular. It's not as though the man does not merit it, but when you have a core base, protesting like this, I think you would owe them some explanation. It may not have to be it may not be in the open, but someone should talk to the aggrieved people, especially the staff of Radio Gold. Most of them were home for for a number of years until they got their frequency back, and then they got back to work. So they should please explain to them why this is it. Well, it is what it is, unfortunately.
Okay, and
Ibrahim, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I am well. Thank you for asking.
Good to know.
You are looking very good in your EIB shirt.
They just see, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't have lights?
I had one. I think I didn't want to iron too much.
Okay.
So this one is easy to iron.
Easy to iron.
Yeah.
Voila.
Yeah. So on Fianco, yes, we're having conflicting accounts, right? Initially, there were assessments from the foot soldiers that indeed they had the day.
Yeah, that has been withdrawn.
Yes.
Only for Sam George to introduce him as the acting.
Yes.
NTA
so
boss.
From what I gather, I think there might be some misunderstanding and misconception.
Okay.
And maybe people playing into a certain grand scheme.
Okay.
Yes, from what I gather.
Okay.
It's like there's a method to it.
There's something.
It's not all about Radio Gold. There's more to it than just Radio Gold. Yeah.
Oh,
You know, if you don't get, somebody gets.
So agenda, no. It's not easy.
Not at all.
I don't envy the president. Look, I really do not envy the president.
Charlie, so it is what it is. It is what
crazy.
It is. Yeah.
All right. You have the
so Muntaka will be vetted today.
It's one of the most anticipated vetting.
Yeah.
I remember him so well on the committee.
Exactly.
How he would pull down his glasses and say, Mr. Nominee. you said, Mr. Nominee, you said, all right, that's okay.
Let me take you to, you see, he will peruse all the answers you have delivered. And gets you to commit yourself in a way that at the end of the day you go like, how did I do that?
Do you remember his questions to Kujo Ponko?
Yes. You have to disown things. The
minister designate had a smooth session. You know, he's a sweet talker. So he's a smooth talker. So he had, everybody was all about, oh, Charlie, could you do. Then it got to Muntaka instead. Dan.
It is what it is.
Oh goodness.
Charlie.
So we are looking forward to how the vetter will be vetted. Definitely. I understand why it's been fast tracked. Interior, you can't. You have many security issues happening internally. You need a national an interior minister to complement the earlier couples that were announced. So let's see. So the Ashanti Regional Minister nominee had to sacrifice a slot for Muntaka. He's also is one that people will be very much interested in.
Exactly. He comes on Tuesday.
Okay.
He comes on Tuesday. Fortunately, TikTok is still alive in Ghana. The Daily Dispatch is the first and the final newspaper I have. 43. First and final. 43% of Mohammed's current nominees served in his 2012 and 2016 government, and Tony Sapon is new GRA boss. And I'm told some
people besieged the
party
place.
People went there. They said they wanted to pay their taxes.
They're lying.
A man cannot work physically to pay taxes anymore.
For the way. we will not be going to the IMF for help.
Yes, with those taxes, they wanted the man to receive the taxes himself.
They should relax. Sometimes, everything is not as it seems. And it will require some talking.
Definitely.
It will require some, I'm saying that they should do it in the background. They should talk to their people. Because you need them too.
Exactly.
And if they have the strong perception that you don't listen to them, they will not go all out. Because really, in terms of those who are being appointed and stuff, it is the grassroots really that makes the party tick.
That's true.
They are the ones that will sacrifice everything. And they are not literally getting anything from it.
That's
most often it's just a T-shirt and simple love for the party.
Yes, and if they hype somebody enough, something small will
come their way. So really, it's a
chobo. You see, when the chobo season ends, these things, sometimes. So this appointment, when chobo is said, those who say, they are often not appointed.
Yeah, that's true.
It's those who shout the chobo. They'll get something. But you must trickle down. So if the one day you don't know the person, then you become agitated. It's all about no confuse.
And when you look at it, that's why when people are elected into office, look, you must do very well to serve the people. What all Ghanaians are asking for is that make the conditions favorable.
True.
We will all be fine.
True.
If it's about employment or if it's about work, government cannot employ everybody.
Not at all.
So when there is private sector that is employing, irrespective of which political party you believe the business is affiliated to, allow the business to thrive because they take off some of the burden off you.
True.
Otherwise, you have to look. Majority of our revenue goes into payment of salaries and emoluments of public sector. For how long can we continue that way? But if you will make the environment conducive and more private persons are able to open businesses, those individuals that are ideally you are supposed to be sorting them out at the ministries and stuff like that would be taken care of at the ministries, and that burden is taken off you. Some way, somehow, the politicians do not get this.
True.
They will do all they can to come and collapse a business they believe is affiliated to their opponents. And so we take one step forward and 10 steps backwards.
I agree.
Well,
The other headlines here: we will work together and beautify democracy. Afenyo marking to new leaders in parliament, and so that's it for the day.
So Afenyo, what does he mean by? He said something. Don't debate too much, otherwise we'll frustrate government business.
No, it's a government business will suffer. Don't introduce too much debate. If you do, government business will suffer. And I think the government business will suffer. The only two are available to the minority is to raise the issue of quorum. And yesterday we saw that on two separate occasions. So it's up to the government side to marshal the numbers. We need 138 to get quorum to take the decision. You have 188.
My challenge, is it 88 or 87? 187 for now.
No, I mean the is 87.
87.
You have
Because,
187.
Yes, the other one is still.
You have 187. You need 138.
Yes, to be there
for decision taking.
Yeah.
And even the 138, you don't even need all of them because at least you have 10 minority members there. 10 at least. You get a point?
Yeah.
So if you cannot marshal even 120,
yeah. And you see,
then that's an issue.
And it's a big deal. The whip must well.
Yeah, but yesterday we could have pardoned him because if he had not even taken over the WhatsApp platform.
Yes, so
yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say my sit up, and then I was just corrected. I was correcting myself. So that in fact, they were just introduced. I mean, they just took over officially yesterday.
Yeah.
Because there's a high probability of complacency.
Exactly.
You know, when you task people to a certain job, and then a few people, then people will do, a few will do, and there's loafing.
Yeah.
Because there are others who feel that this person will do, this person will do.
Exactly. Nobody shows up.
Yes, nobody shows up, and so they have the numbers, and it can make them complacent.
Yeah.
And that is why they must sit up.
That's all.
Because if they don't take care, there will be a majority in opposition.
Yeah.
Because their opponents are bent on, giving them a run for their money.
Yeah.
Because they are all about, it's not about numbers. Our numbers are small, but we will be efficient. We'll put them on their toes.
Yeah.
So they also know what they are expected to do. Now that they have their leadership set, they should get to work. See how we all said it. Can you take us through City Newsroom and then
okay,
we'll
so
do Starr from
City Newsroom.
Obed will take us to Ghana Web.
Okay, so let me give you City Newsroom. Loading. Okay, so I'm there. City Newsroom. The headlines here. Phyllis Jemfi appointed acting National Service Authority boss. Indeed, the rank and file of the party are really taking position, and that's what I think. I'm told he's a party activist. That's all I know about him. Phyllis Jemfi from the Ashanti region. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So he's in the Ashanti region.
Yeah.
Okay.
Energy Minister inspect 2,500 uncleared ECG containers at Tema Port. Interior Minister designate Mutaka Mubarak to be vetted today. Malik Basintale appointed acting CEO of Youth Employment Agency. That portfolio was being claimed by two people on social media, and they were all receiving congratulatory messages. Yeah.
So it was Malik and who?
Malik and one other guy. He's also from the same area, Savannah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Mahama appointed Adamu Takil as acting Ghana Water Company Limited CEO.
Speaking of Malik's position, you remember Awal?
Yes, Awal was the PRO.
Yes, I saw people saying that now that he should prepare to leave because.
Oh, I'm sure he's left already. Yeah.
So?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh, the boss Kofi Japan resigned.
Yeah.
That's because that's a political appointment. Yeah, but of course, Awal can say that he's a civil servant. No problem. Presidency directs government institution to submit payroll data of new staff. Proud to have led a minority that saved public funds at Tuforsen. And Ruth Della Sedo appointed acting deputy DG of National Service.
That's also a party.
Yes, he's deputy national youth organizer.
So
that's to operate.
What's the name?
Is going to NYA. That's the youth authority. Yeah, I think the organizer is there. Yamin is there.
You think they would,
No, he said he's not leaving. I think the secretary is there. The chairman is there. Women organizer. We've not heard her say she will not move, but so far, all the ministerial portfolios are gone. So it's safe to say that Hannah Bisi doctor will remain.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe she wants to stay with the party. She was a minister under the previous administration.
She was
NDC administration.
Agric.
Agric, yes. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Yep. Let's see how that goes.
Definitely. So
All
that's
right.
the first news.
Thank you very much. starfm.com.gh. Apologize to Ghanaians and appoint more than 60 ministers. I'll bring that sound to you in the course of the bulletin, in the course of the show. Afenyo marking to Ghanaians. Financial independence shouldn't depend on whether a woman is married or not. Tettey, gender advocate. Supreme Court adjourns NDC's application to reverse High Court ruling indefinitely. And I'll study Bakavomawa's dockets before dropping any charges. Ayene, that's the Minister of Justice. And also, I won't rush into decisions regarding NDC members on trial. Same, Ayene. And Trump tells Putin to end ridiculous war in Ukraine or face new sanctions, I believe. Ghana Water Company Limited struggles to supply water to Chibi and I'm trying to catch up. So Ghana Water Company Limited to supply water to Chibi and its environs for 5 months. No, struggle rather. So they are struggling to supply water to Chibi and its environs for 5 months due to illegal mining. You see, because of a few people's gain, we look on and destroy everything, and then it's the majority of the people that are suffering. Because really, the people who are getting money from Galamsey, they feel they can import water, they can buy water, but the indigents who cannot and can only rely on these polluted waters. Oh gosh. Koforidia, newly built 3-chamber and hall apartment razed by fire. ECG staff blamed. And so that's it for starfm.com.gh.
Right, Ghana Web. Interesting. Sit down, relax. A+ claps back at MPs for heckling during his first submission in Parliament. Right, and then it is not your business. Presidential staffer Nana Yag Jantwa on her political affiliation. Also, Mahama orders government institutions to submit payroll data for staff added since December 7. And Ablakwa on a personalized witch hunting enterprise to destroy my son's business. And this is Freddie Blay.
It's one of the questions that will come up when it's being vetted.
Ochehini orders seizure of excavators, removal of all mining equipment operating along the brim. So these are the headlines on Ghana Web.
All right, thank you very much, Obed King Gaglu, our very own professor in the newsroom. Thank you so much for joining me with the newspaper review segment. I will go for a break. When I return, DJ Don will do his thing a little bit before we get into our conversations for today. It's a Friday. We need to be in the mood of a Friday, okay? It's very important. It's been a hectic week, or it hasn't been hectic for you.
Let's have breakfast on the Morning Star.